Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us here as we bring in someone many of you already know. We won't go through his Hollywood resume, but we will let you know that he will be driving the number 30 Rhett Jones Racing Ford in this Saturday's Daytona ARCA 200. Frankie Muniz, I know this has been a long time coming. What's going on inside right now? Is there anxiousness? Is there a sense of calm? How are you feeling about your debut on Saturday? Here, flip that up.
My emotions over the last month since we had the test here, I've gone kind of through a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, obviously it's been a long time coming, getting to this point. So the fact that the race is actually here is extremely exciting. The fact that I don't have to talk about it anymore and I get to do it is exciting. But I've gone from feeling 100% confident and ready, thinking I'm going to go out and win the race, to trying to remember which one the gas pedal is. So really a wide range of emotions to prepare here. But no, I feel really good right now. Actually being here made me less nervous, if that makes sense. Just the anxiousness of getting to this point is what had my nerves riled up. But I know when I get in the car on Saturday, when they say start your engines, there will be some nerves, but that's what I love about racing. That feeling, that feeling you get in your gut, and the anticipation of what's about to come, and then being in the race, and then the result, the highs and lows of it. So I'm really excited.
I've never been a race car driver, but I think the gas is on the right.
Good to remember. Good to know. I'll write it down.
All right. I know we've got some questions here, so we'll start around the room. We're going to start up front here with Jerry Jordan, then we'll go back to Lewis. You make you walk all the way up front.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net. So why do you want to do this? And what's the family think of you getting out here and taking laps at Daytona and running a race?
To go way back, I was a huge race fan growing up. I remember waking up early mornings watching Formula One races, before my parents were up, and watching the NASCAR races. I've been to a lot of NASCAR races when I was a kid. I lived in Raleigh. We'd go down to Charlotte and watch the races. I've been to the Daytona 500. It's one of those things, like, I think every kid, like an astronaut or a rock star, says, I want to be a race car driver, but how do you actually make it happen? I got to do the pro celebrity race in Long Beach that they did, and winning that was, honestly, I've accomplished a lot of cool things in my life. That was the greatest feeling I've ever had, crossing that finish line. And I caught the bug. So I raced cars. I raced in the Atlantic Championship with Champ Car for 3 years until I got hurt in 2009. And always thought during my recovery that my end goal was to go back racing. That's what I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, the recovery process took longer than I thought it would. And then life took over. I started doing other things. I started acting again. I started playing drums in a band. I opened an olive oil company. I did a lot of things. And it finally hit me when my son was born. I have a almost 2-year-old. He's here. And it hit me. I was looking at him when he was born. I was trying to think, like, what is he going to think of me? Like, who his dad is, because everything I've done is in my past, right? I can tell him stories. Oh, I used to do this. I used to do that. I used to do that. But I wanted him to see me reaching for a dream or reaching for a goal and striving for that. And, how do you do that? And the one thing, not the one thing, but one thing that I really felt like I had unfinished business in was the racing world. And I always knew I wanted to go back. So I said, I'm 37 years old. I'm kind of an old guy in the sport, but if I'm going to do it and I'm going to make it to the level that I want to make it, I got to do it now, and I got to do it at a way quicker pace than most people do. So I'm more motivated than ever. I can take past experiences that I've had and look back and use that as motivation, as far as, like, I have this opportunity in front of me today, right? I'm going to be in the car tomorrow. I'm racing at Daytona on Saturday. I have this opportunity right now, and I'm going to do everything I can to take advantage of it. And I've learned that over my years. I don't know. I think that's good. As far as my family, my wife is very supportive. She likes to say she's never told me no about doing anything. So I'm anxious to see how she'll be here at the racetrack. You know what I mean? I know she's excited for me, but I think she'll be a little nervous once the race is going on, once she sees it in person and hears it, not just watching it on TV or talking about it. So, but to be successful in this business, you do have to have support at home, and I definitely have that. So I think that's really important.
And we'll send it back to Lewis.
Sorry, I talk a lot.
Lewis is going to like that olive oil. He's a
Yeah.
You brought up Formula Atlantic. You were teammates with Simone Di Silvestro for that time.
Yep.
One, do you stay in touch? Number two, tell us a little bit about that. And number two, what got you interested in switching from open wheel to stock car racing?
Yeah, so Simone and I were teammates for 2 seasons in the Atlanta Championship. She was a great teammate. You know, like we were really, really good friends. And that's one cool thing, you know, not to bring up like what I hear about racing in Europe and stuff like that in comparison. So she came from Europe and was racing here. But she loved the fact that all the drivers were friends. You know what I mean? In Europe, it was she grew up kind of not being allowed to talk to the other drivers and stuff like that. So we became really, really close. You know, we were kind of the opposite driver. So if you put our ideal laps together, we would make the ultimate lap. Because I was really, really good in all the slow, technical kind of, you know, road and street track corners. And she was crazy in the high speed stuff, and she'd get me there. So we could really work together, like overlaying the data and see kind of what I'm doing, where I'm braking in certain areas and pick up. And she did really well that year. She almost won the championship in 2009. Which was pretty cool. But no, we definitely stay in touch. You know, she's a hero to me. You know, she went on and did so much in IndyCar. We were supposed to move up to IndyCar together that year, but my broken back and pins in my wrist said otherwise. So, but then as far as going to stock car racing, even when I was driving open wheel cars, I always was saying, I want to do ARCA. I want to try it. Like, I don't know it. And I didn't know what it was about it, maybe just because I was a fan of it growing up. I didn't realize that the driving style was so different. You know what I mean? I compare it to like saying Olympic diving and Olympic swimming are the same sport because they both involve water. You know, like I have a race car mentality. Like I understand, I can tell, you know, my crew chief what the car is doing or, you know, how to maybe improve it. But the racecraft and everything that you feel in the stock car is different. So I know I've got a steep learning curve in that sense. But so far what I've done in the stock cars, I did a lot of pro late model races last year and stuff just to kind of get some racecraft on ovals and stuff. I showed that I had some speed. So hopefully I can prove that when it counts either this weekend and the rest of the season. And you know, everyone will look at me as a stock car driver.
We'll send it back to Zach.
Zach Sterniel, NASCAR.com. Frankie, I'm just curious, how real does it feel now that you're here for the race weekend? I know you've already turned laps in a stock car around here, so that part won't be new. But just being here for the race weekend, has it sunk in now that it's here?
You know what's funny? I don't think it fully has. Like even sitting here at this podium and knowing that I'm getting in the car tomorrow, like just because for 2 years I feel like I've been saying it's about to happen. It's about to happen. So I think it'll take being strapped in the car at 4:05 tomorrow afternoon when the practice session starts for it to feel real. And seeing the other competitors and all the other cars out there and knowing that we're in the actual race weekend. But I mean, I'm ready, you know, and I not only want to prove it to myself, I'm ready to prove it for my family and their you know, the amount of time we're dedicating to this and on and off track and I don't know, hopefully be in this world for years to come. And if I win, no, my sister's getting married on Sunday in Cancun, so she'd be pretty mad if I missed it. But I told her if I win, trust me, I'm not coming to Cancun. I'll be here.
So I asked him that same question, and he says, I have to go to Cancun. It's not I don't get to go to Cancun, I have to go to Cancun. We'll send it up front here to Holly Kane.
Hi, I wanted to ask you, because I think it's rather important maybe to this, but clearly you have a reputation as a very accomplished and popular actor. Have you had to purposefully kind of push that away to become only race car driver, or has it helped? Because I would think sponsors love that. They dig the fact that you're famous and well known. How has that been working through those?
I think there's positives and negatives that come along with the fact that people know me from a different career. I think maybe when people hear the story that I'm going racing, they think automatically that it's, oh, he's gonna have fun, or it's just a hobby, or he has money and he's just gonna go and waste it, or I don't know, whatever they want to say, right? I've heard it all. So being taken seriously, I think, is maybe harder, right? Because I have eyes on me when it's my first race this weekend. You know what I mean? It's my first real stock car race this weekend. But as a race car driver, my intention is to win the race. You know what I mean? I'm not going there thinking, oh, I'm going to be happy in 20th. No. Like, I want to win. Like, I'm competitive. I feel like we showed that we had a lot of speed in the test. So I'm coming into this weekend with confidence. But in that same sense, like, I know what people will say if it doesn't go like we're planning. You know what I mean? So there is maybe a little added pressure, but I use that as motivation. As far as things that I can take, the fact that maybe you do know me from the show I was on, and if it does help, garner sponsorship money to make this happen, and trust me, like, it's something that we're actively looking for. You know what I mean? I don't know if people know that. Like, it's still not easy. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to do the same thing, and until we make it a reality, like we are this weekend, it's just been an idea. So, and maybe people think it is just some kind of fluke and I'm going to get over it and do a couple races and leave. No, I'm here with the intention of being in the stock car world for a long time as a driver, and then hopefully in the future as a team owner. That's my end goal. But yeah, I'm 37, but I got a lot of good years in me still.
We'll send it back to Tyler.
Jared Haas with FrontStretch.com.
Jared, I'm sorry.
It's all good. I got to ask, in Malcolm in the Middle, it's revealed during the show that you're named after a famous fictional race car driver, Rusty Malcolm.
Yeah.
Is there a real-life comparison that you would say to Rusty Malcolm in the real world in NASCAR?
I don't know about that. I didn't grow up in a family that was a huge racing fan family. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like on me, right? As becoming a fan. But no, I think it's funny that, people know me as Malcolm. Malcolm was named after a NASCAR driver named Rusty Malcolm. So I'm just, helping make, people's memories of Malcolm become a reality, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that answers your question.
We'll keep it right back there.
Donald Hopkins with FrontStretch.com. Frankie, we talked about Daytona. Everyone's talking about Daytona and how great it is to be here. That's great, but you have another 19 races in the ARCA Menard Series as well. How's your dirt track racing game and how's your short track racing game?
So, I know that there's going to be places that I will have more success this year than others. I think a place that I will struggle is going to be the dirt races, but that's what's kind of cool about the ARCA schedule is we're everywhere, right? We're on super speedways, we're on the 1.5 mile tracks, short tracks, dirt tracks, road courses. But I'm eager to learn. I've never, ever been on anything on dirt. I tried doing iRacing on dirt actually like 3 days ago, and if my actual racing debut on dirt goes like that did, it won't be too pretty. But I've got some time. I'm putting in the work, and we're going to do a lot of testing and get out in some cars before those races, and just be prepared. The season's long. You know what I mean? I know that to have I'm competing for the championship. I want to win the championship. There's going to be good races. There's going to be bad races. There's going to be races you're taken out of, and that happens with everybody. So as long as we're consistent and keep fighting, maybe we'll be there in the end to be battling for the championship.
We'll send it all the way to the back corner.
Colby Evans, Racing Experts. Just wanted to ask, like what the other guys said, with the other 19 races on the schedule, what mindset do you have, though, going to those other races, like the dirt tracks, like the short tracks, and the road courses, and do you have a specific goal for, like, finishing-wise?
Yeah, I'm as of right now, the beginning of the schedule is pretty spread out, right? We have Daytona, so I can really just focus on this. We've got 3.5 weeks or whatever before Phoenix. We're going to do a bunch of testing. Ford is letting me go into their simulator in Charlotte at Ford Performance, and to get a lot of time there. So I'm going to be doing a lot that I can to prep for Phoenix then, and just focus on that. Then we got 6 weeks before Talladega, and you really can't plan for Talladega or prep for Talladega other than being at Talladega, right? So that gives me a lot of time to start focusing on the rest of the schedule and kind of getting my short track game ready. You know what I mean? But as far as, you know, expectations, I hate to sound cliche when I say this. Like I said, obviously my goal is to win, but I really want to get out of the car at every venue, right? Because like I said, I feel confident about certain tracks we're going to, and some I'm kind of like, that's going to be a lot of work. That's going to be hard for me. But my goal is when I get out of the race car is to look back and go, I gave it my all there. Like, I don't want to look back and feel like, man, I left something on the table. Like, I could have tried harder. I should have been more aggressive. Or I should have prepped more, you know, before the race. So I'm, you know, dedicating my life to having the most successful year I can. And as long as I can look back at the end of the year and think that I did that, I think it was a success. But, you know, I'm excited for the road courses. That's been my entire racing experience was on road courses. We get 2 of those this year, and then, you know, I know we got a really fast super speedway car, so Daytona, Talladega, you know, I'm hoping to, I know a lot of luck comes along with winning one of those races too, but you know, hopefully we'll be there at the end.
Seth Egger, KickinTires.net. About a month ago, I had asked you about all of your connections with the 2001 Daytona 500 and if it had sunk in. Now that you've actually been on track in the car, tested, and you're going to be on track tomorrow, has it been sunk in a little bit more since then?
You know, that was kind of the same thing when I heard the story of what the chassis, you know, was, and the history, and the fact that I'm driving that car and there's pictures of me with that car, and 3 people signed my jacket, and those 3 people were involved in that incident in 2001. It at first took me aback, and I was really kind of, I don't know, it was a little eerie almost. But after thinking about it more, it makes me feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like, I don't know, it's called destiny. You know what I mean? I don't know. I will say, you know, you can't think of the negative things that can happen in a race car. As a race car driver, you know there's a possibility. You know what I mean? But it does, having a child, you know, even though he's the reason I went racing, like, it does make you think, like, man, what I'm about to do is pretty crazy. You know what I mean? Like, people forget that, right? People forget that going 200 miles an hour, maybe they don't forget that it's dangerous, but, you know, you see so many big incidents and the guy just get out, right? But there is a possibility there. So I know that, and you know, I respect it. You know what I mean? But I go out there with the intention of being as fast as I can possibly be, and I can't let that restrict me or restrict decisions, or I don't want to take that risk, because at that point I've already been passed. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not just doing this as a hobby. I want to be the best, and I'm willing to take the risks that come along with that.
We'll send it back to Jamie.
Jamie Little, Fox Sports. Great to have you in this series. Looking forward to calling your races this year. I'm curious, though, and you mentioned it, you know, there's big gaps in between races in the ARCA Menards series. Are you still acting? Will you take jobs? What if somebody calls and your schedule of racing gets in the way?
You know, it has been a question, you know, or it has come up. I got asked a few months ago, before I knew that the ARCA deal was going to happen, that we were actually going to be racing, to do a movie that's actually starting the Monday after the Phoenix race. It fits in that 6-week window. And I don't want anyone to think that by me taking that movie or still continuing to do that movie, it takes it away from my seriousness of going racing. But, you know, it's a 19-day shoot. Yeah, I still get a month or whatever, or 3 weeks to prepare for Talladega, and I'm going to do it. If, you know, my thing is, if my acting or my entertainment career can help keep me going in the racing world, then obviously I'd like to do it. But my focus is 100% on being a race car driver. So that comes first. There's been other things that have come to me that conflict with races, and they will not give you insurance to film a movie if you're racing, trust me. And I said, sorry, I can't do it. You know, I've turned down a few things so far already this year, knowing the schedule. So yeah, so yes and no. My priority is racing 100%, but if it fits in the window, there's no reason for me not to do both.
We'll go right over here.
Hey, Frankie. Chris Gollum with News Daytona Beach. I was wondering if you've been in communication with any of your co-stars anytime recently, and what they think of your latest endeavor.
Actually, on Saturday night, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul were at actually a restaurant that's sponsoring my car for the Phoenix race. And the owner of the restaurant's like, hey, Brian's coming with his mezcal company. You've got to come surprise him. And I haven't seen Brian in probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And I came in holding a bunch of bottles for him to sign. And it was really nice to catch up with him. He was so excited about the racing. And he says he's coming to a race. And I don't know which one yet, but it was cool to catch up with him for sure. But it was funny because I was explaining to him Daytona and explaining what we're doing and what I'm doing. And he had this fatherly, like, kind of like, all right, you know, if you want, I'm a little nervous for you, but all right, you know, like I'm going to be there for you. It was pretty cool. He's an amazing guy.
Thanks, Frankie. No problem.
Well, he would be the one who named you after Rusty Malcolm,
Yeah,
so
yes,
he shouldn't be too nervous about it.
Exactly.
We'll head over here to Dustin.
Dustin Albino, J-Ski. Frankie, what driver or who in the industry have you leaned on for advice entering this weekend?
You know, coming into this year, I didn't really know many NASCAR guys personally. I played in Corey LaJoie's kickball tournament that he has in October in Charlotte area. And that was the first time I'd been kind of around all the kind of in the NASCAR world and with the drivers. And I really didn't know what to expect as far as if I would be seen as almost like an outsider, if they would kind of accept me as a potential driver. And I was surprised by the reaction that everyone had. They were really genuinely excited for the opportunity I was getting. And I would say the two that kind of took me under their wing, even though I'm much older than them, but you know, they're at the top level, is Noah Gragson and Corey LaJoie. They've been so helpful and sharing notes and just everything that they can. And you know, Noah kind of says, you know, he didn't have necessarily someone doing that when he was coming up. So the fact that he can kind of help me, he excites him, you know. And I'm taking obviously as much of the advice as possible because I have a lot to learn. You know what I mean? So if maybe I don't even know necessarily what he's talking about at this moment, but maybe in the race something will click where I was like, oh, that's what he meant. You know, it's pretty helpful to have guys in my corner that want to see me succeed. So I think that's pretty cool.
Last call. Any other questions for? I think Colby in the back has one more.
So you talked about the road courses being the tracks you're most excited for. Which one in particular do you feel like you'll perform the best on, the Glen or Mid-Ohio?
I've raced at Mid-Ohio a lot. I feel pretty confident there. You know, granted, driving a ARCA car is going to be a lot different from what I used to drive. You know, I think the Atlantic car with driver is like 1,400 pounds and so much downforce, and so the braking markers may be a little different. You know, but I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to it. I'm excited for every race. I don't want to sound like that, but you know, obviously, with my background in racing, being on road courses, you know, it does excite me to think that maybe I could have a pretty good result there.
All right, final question from me. You mentioned your team owner, Mark Rett, says this is the best Speedway car he's ever brought here. That team has finished second and third here in the past, and he's saying that car's even better.
So there's only one spot better, right?
So does that put more pressure on you, or does that make you give you a little more confidence knowing that that car is that good? How's that work?
Well, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. You know, no, look, I when I talk to Rhett, he is so excited about the car we're bringing here. You know what I mean? So, you know, we'll see tomorrow. That'll be the true test. But, you know, it is a brand new super speedway car, you know, new chassis, new everything. So, he's pretty excited, for it. And as am I. I'm excited. It's a Ford Mustang body, you know, got that new body on there. It's gonna be nice.
All right, you don't have to go out on the racetrack tomorrow. You get to go out on the racetrack tomorrow.
Yes, I get
right.
to.
Finally.
Thanks. Why is it 4 o'clock? I got to wait around till 4 o'clock.
Thanks for coming and doing this, Frankie.
Thank
Good
you
luck
guys
this
so
weekend.
much. See you.
Yep, thank you.